So this is the structure of a cell. So the cell is the outermost covering, which is known as, you all know in the previous class we have learned that the outermost covering of the cell is called cell membrane. Okay, the cell membrane encloses a fluid-like structure. You can see this fluid-like structure space, the larger space of the cell, which is known as cytoplasm. Okay, and in the cytoplasm is present a nucleus. So in yesterday's class we have seen that every cell, when you observe it under a microscope, you will see that all the cells is having these three main structures. The first one is cell membrane, the second one is cytoplasm, and the third one is nucleus. Okay, so in the previous class we have discussed about the cell membrane, how it functions and how it looks like, and now we will discuss what is nucleus and how it looks like and what are the different parts of a nucleus. So when we magnify this structure under a microscope, it looks like this. This is the structure of a nucleus. So nucleus is the largest and the most prominent cell organelle of a cell. Okay, it was first discovered by Robert Brown in the year 1831. It is a double membrane bound cell organelle. You can see this double membrane. It is double membrane bound cell organelle. Okay, so when we see a nucleus under a microscope, we will see that it looks like this. So when we talk about nucleus is the most important cell organelle because it controls and governs the cell. That's why it is also known as controlling center of the cell, or you can also say governor of the cell, because it is nucleus that governs the cell. So it is also known as governor of the cell. So let us see what are the different parts of a nucleus. The nucleus is mainly composed of four main parts. The first part is nuclear membrane. Okay, the first part is nuclear membrane. The second part is nucleoplasm. The third part is chromatin network. And the last most important part, the fourth part, is nucleolus. So if you will see a nucleus under a microscope, you will see that it is having four important parts. The first one is nuclear membrane, which encloses nucleoplasm. Nucleoplasm contains chromatin network and nucleolus within it. So these are the four basic parts of a nucleus. So let us start our discussion with nuclear membrane. When you see a nucleus, this nucleus is surrounded by a double layer. You can see these two double layers. This two double layer which surrounds the nucleus or the contents of the nucleus is known as nuclear membrane. Okay, it is double layer. You can see that this nuclear membrane is not continuous, isn't it? It is not continuous. Instead, it is being interrupted at certain positions. These interruptions are known as nuclear pore. These openings are known as nuclear pore. The function of the nuclear pore is that it helps in the transportation of materials into the cytoplasm, and it also brings materials from the cytoplasm into the cell. So the first part we have seen that nuclear membrane. So nuclear membrane is the outermost covering of the nucleus. It is double walled, it is double layer. It separates the contents of the nucleus from the cytoplasm. It separates the contents, isn't it? Suppose this is cytoplasm, so it separates the contents of the cytoplasm from that of the contents which is present inside the nucleus. Now this nuclear pore is not continuous. It is being absent or it is being interrupted at certain positions, which is known as nuclear pore. The main function of the nuclear pore it helps in the transportation of materials in and out of the cell. There are certain substances which it needs to transport into the cytoplasm, and there are some substances which it needs to carry inside the nucleus. So it takes place with the help of nuclear pore. Now you can see that this nuclear membrane is enclosing a region inside the nucleus. This region is known as this dotted region. This dotted region you can see. So this nuclear membrane is enclosing a region, a larger region inside this, which is known as nucleoplasm. Okay, this nucleoplasm is a jelly-like dense substance which is present inside the nuclear membrane. Okay, it is also known as karyolymph. The other name of this is karyolymph. Karyo means nucleus, lymph means the liquid which is present inside the nucleus. So the other name of nucleoplasm is karyolymph. So the nuclear membrane encloses a jelly-like dense substance which is known as nucleoplasm. Okay. Now nucleoplasm encloses two important structures within it. This thread-like structures which you all can see is known as chromatin network, and another spherical structure is known as nucleolus. So nucleoplasm is nothing but it is a jelly-like substance which is enclosed by the nuclear membrane. It encloses chromatin network and nucleolus. The third important part is chromatin network. When the nucleus, this is the nucleus which is in resting stage. This nucleus is in resting stage. Okay. You all know that cell has the most important property of cell division. So since this is also a cell organelle, so it will also undergo division. But now this nucleus is not undergoing any division. Okay. So when the nucleus is not undergoing any division, you will see that these thread-like structures are present. These thread-like structures are present inside the nucleoplasm of the nucleus, which is known as chromatin network. Okay. When the nucleus is about to divide, when the nucleus will undergo division state, at that time this chromatin fibers, these thread-like structures will come closer to each other. They will come closer to each other and they will form rod structures, rod-shaped structures they will form, which is known as chromosomes. Okay, these chromosomes are made up of DNA and proteins. Okay, the full form of DNA is deoxyribose nucleic acid. Deoxyribose nucleic acid. This is the genetic material in our body, okay, which gets transferred from father and mother to the offsprings. So when the nucleus is not dividing, it is in resting stage, you can see that thread-like structures are present which are known as chromatin network. These are in the form of network. It is a mass which is known as chromatin network. But when the nucleus is about to divide, then this chromatin network comes closer to each other and they form compact, dense structures which is known as chromosomes. These chromosomes are nothing but they are made up of DNA, that is deoxyribose nucleic acid, and proteins. You all know that DNA is the genetic material in our body. That means it contains genetic characters. DNA is about 2 meters long. How much? 2 meters long. Okay. Now this DNA is 2 meters long and all the DNA is not functional. Okay. Some parts of the DNA is functional. So those functional parts of DNA is called gene. Okay, and this gene is the unit of heredity. Okay, so we have seen that chromatin networks are nothing but these are the thread-like structures that contains DNA. When the nucleus is about to divide, these chromatin fibers or chromatin networks come closer to each other. They become condensed and they become compact in structure and they form chromosomes. Okay, these chromosomes are made up of DNA and proteins. Okay, now this DNA is very long, that is about 2 meters long. So this all the part of the DNA is not functional, but certain segments or the parts of the DNA which is functional. So the functional part of the DNA is called gene, and gene is the unit of heredity. Okay, that means gene carries characters. Okay, gene is responsible for carrying the characters. Okay, now since the chromosome carries genes, so we can say that gene is present on the DNA and DNA is present in the chromosome. So we can say that chromosomes contains genes and genes are responsible for the characters. So we can also say that chromosomes are hereditary vehicle. You know hereditary means what? The characters which are present in the genetic material of the parents. Okay, and vehicle means which carries it. So who is carrying the characters from the parents to the offsprings? Chromosome. So we can also call chromosomes as the hereditary vehicle. Okay, so we have seen that that nucleoplasm consists of chromatin network. Chromatin network is nothing but these are the thread-like structures made up of DNA. When the nucleus is about to divide, these thread-like structures come closer to each other, become compact in structure, and they form chromosomes. Chromosomes contains DNA, DNA contains genes, and gene contains the characters. That means it is the unit of heredity. Since chromosomes carry the information and passes the information, genetic information, from the parents to the offsprings, so it is also known as hereditary vehicle. From parents to offsprings. Okay, so these chromosomes are known as hereditary vehicle. Okay, and DNA is the master molecule. You can say it is the master molecule because it controls the activities of the cell. Okay, and the last most important part is nucleolus. The last most important part of the nucleus is nucleolus. Nucleolus, you can see this is a spherical small structure. It doesn't have any membrane. It is continuous with the nucleoplasm. You can see this dotted structure. This is a nucleoplasm. So this nucleolus doesn't have a cell membrane. It is continuous with the nucleoplasm. It is generally one in number. In every nucleus, you can see that there is one nucleolus present. It is spherical in shape. Okay, and it is made up of, this nucleolus is made up of RNA and proteins. Okay, what is the full form of RNA? Ribose nucleic acid. So this nucleolus is composed of RNA and proteins, and the most important function of nucleolus is that it helps in the formation of what? Proteins. Okay, since RNA is there, so RNA generally helps in the formation of proteins. So the main function of nucleolus is the formation of proteins. Okay, so we have seen that the nucleus is the largest cell organelle, and it is the most prominent. You can see it very clearly when you see a cell under a microscope. You can see it very clearly. So it is the largest and the most prominent cell organelle of a cell. When you zoom it under a microscope, then you can see that it consists of four main parts. First one is nuclear membrane. Second one is nucleoplasm. Nucleoplasm contains chromatin network and nucleolus. Nuclear membrane is not continuous. It is interrupted at certain positions, which is known as nuclear pore, that helps in the transport of materials from the cytoplasm into the nucleus and from the nucleus into the cytoplasm. Okay. Now this nuclear membrane encloses a gel-like dense substance within it, which is known as nucleoplasm. Okay, this nucleoplasm contains chromatin network and nucleolus. Chromatin network is nothing but it is the thread-like structures made up of DNA. Okay, which when condensed during the cell division forms chromosomes. Chromosomes contains DNA. DNA contains gene, and gene is the unit of heredity. So since chromosomes pass from one carries the information from parents to the offsprings, so chromosomes are also known as hereditary vehicles. Okay, and the last part is nucleolus. Nucleolus is a spherical structure. It is generally one in number, and it is made up of RNA and proteins. RNA means ribose nucleic acid, and it generally helps in the formation of proteins. Its main function is the formation of proteins. Okay, this is all about the structure of a nucleus. Now, apart from this nucleus is having so many important functions. Okay, the first function of nucleus is it maintains the cell. Okay, number 2, it helps in cell division. Okay, number 3, it controls all the activities of cell. So it is also known as governor of cell. And the last most important function of nucleus is that it carries genetic information. And what is the genetic material in our body? Deoxyribose nucleic acid, that is DNA. Okay, so this is all about nucleus. Now the last thing is that I have already told you is the last part is cytoplasm. Okay, so every cell membrane encloses a fluid structure, a fluid region, a very large region. You can see this, the region is very large, and this larger region is being enclosed by the cell membrane. So this larger fluid region is known as cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is a semi-solid region. Okay, it is a semi-solid. It is neither solid nor liquid, so it is semi-solid. Okay, it is a fluid region. Okay, it is the most important region of the cell because all the activities, chemical reactions takes place inside the cytoplasm. Then all the cell organelles. In previous class I have told you that all that cell is made up of cell organelles. So all the cell organelles are present in cytoplasm, such as endoplasmic reticulum, nucleus, Golgi complex, vacuoles, ribosomes. These are all cell organelles. All the cell organelles are present inside the cytoplasm, and the transportation of the materials between these cell organelles also takes place in this cytoplasm. So we can see that the cell membrane encloses a larger area which is semi-solid or which is fluid in nature is known as cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is the most important part of a cell because all the chemical reactions takes place inside the cytoplasm. Not only that, all the cell organelles are also embedded or present in the cytoplasm, and the transport of materials or the exchange of materials between the cell organelles also takes place through the cytoplasm. Okay, and this is the basic structure of a cell. So every cell, if you will observe it under a microscope, you will see that it will have cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus. But in plant cell, you will see that another thick covering surrounds the cell membrane, and this thick covering, dead covering, is known as cell wall, but it is only present in case of plants. Okay, so this is all about today's discussion on the cytoplasm and nucleus.